Hey guys, as you know, we were not able to cover everything we needed to cover on Monday night, so here we are at Plan B, and I'm going to do this via video link. So let's start out by taking a look at the list of things we should have accomplished on Monday night. That included a lecture on Chapter 2, a discussion of the Zach Walls video, everyone giving their significant event speech, lecturing Chapters 4 and 5, and assigning you your next speech, which will be given in 2 weeks, the speech on relevant person. Since we did most of our significant event speeches, that was an awesome accomplishment. We've got, I think, 2 people to go, and we will do that at the very beginning of class next week. Then I will do a quick in-class discussion of the Zach Walls video. So hopefully via link here, you'll be able to get the information that I'm going to give you on Chapter 2, and on Chapter 4 and 5, and then also the directions for the relevant person. And it's important to know that next week in class, you have due an outline for your relevant person speech, as well as a list of 3 sources formatted in APA for your 3 sources. And I want to be able to actually give you feedback on both your outline and your sources, and be able to let you make some revisions prior to actually giving the speech in 2 weeks. All right, so let me go ahead and cover Chapter 2 while I still have you as a captive audience. Okay, so for Chapter 2, it really just talks about ethics of public speaking, which means that you have a responsibility as a speaker to give good information. Information that's going to benefit your audience, information that's going to have positive effects, and information that is true. The definition of ethics is standards that we use to determine right from wrong or good from bad in both thought and also in behavior. And a quote from one of my favorite shows that I used to watch, Frasier, is ethics is what we do when no one is looking. And I think that that's just such a great way to think about ethics, that when no one is looking, that's your true self. What is it you're going to try to get away with? Okay? But when we're talking about delivering true ethics in class, it's about choosing good topics and making sure that we have good sources. Principles of ethics: all parties in the communication process are responsible to be ethical. That means not only the speaker, but also the listener. So ethical speakers and listeners need to possess attitudes and standards that really are pervasive of their entire character, and that those ethics and those ideals, their preferences of right and wrong, of what they think is good and bad, this needs to be sort of filtered through everything that they say and everything that they do, not only before the speech, but also during the speech and after the speech. So, talking about the speakers specifically, talk about topics that you consider important. It is important to have a passion and a drive for whatever it is you're talking about. Again, if you're bored with your topic, we're going to be bored with your topic. But if you're excited about it and you're passionate about it, we're going to feel that. That should also help you with your tone and with your projection, because you're talking about something that matters to you. The next thing is choose topics that promote positive ethical values. You can talk about pretty much anything that you want. However, if your choice is giving a presentation on how to get good grades and how to improve your study habits versus how to hack a system to change your grade illegally because you bombed the test, well, I think we're going to go with the one that actually promotes positive ethical values. All right, speak to benefit your listeners. Yes, you need to talk about something that is important and relevant to you, but you also have to find a way to connect that topic to your audience so that they also care about what it is you're talking about. Find examples, find connections so that they will buy into and be supportive of what you're talking about. Okay? Use truthful material and valid reasoning. We talked about information literacy. We talked about making sure that we pull articles that have reliable authors that have been published from credible websites, and that's the information that we want to integrate and use as evidence to support our points of view. All right, consider the consequences of your words and your actions. Again, if we're talking about hacking into a system and then somebody in the audience goes and does that and gets caught, you are partially responsible for that. Right? Strive to improve your public speaking. It's not just what you say, but how you say it. And I'm sure you've heard that phrase uttered many times. Even though you might have the correct word choice, if you are sarcastic, if you are condescending, that tone is going to override whatever it is you're saying and is going to potentially alienate your audience and make them angry. And once that happens, a wall goes up and they're not going to care about what you have to say because they're no longer going to be open to it. As ethical listeners, we also have a responsibility. We want to seek exposure to well-informed speakers. Each of us can do this by going online and actually searching for example speeches. Go on YouTube and search for effective informative speech or effective how-to presentation and watch the students and the people who've recorded themselves and posted themselves to YouTube and critique them. What are they doing well? What could they have done better? And then use those observations to improve your own presentation skills. Right? Avoid prejudging speakers or their ideas. Someone may be talking about a topic that's controversial or that you have a very specific point of view on. Don't shut down. Please be open to listening and hearing whatever the speaker has come to share with you today. It doesn't mean you have to agree with it, but it does mean that you need to support their efforts and acknowledge that they have a right to have their own beliefs and their own feelings, their own point of views about things. Let's see, evaluate the speaker's logic and credibility. Again, we're going to look at the evidence. Just like you're going to have to evaluate your own sources to make sure that you're giving good information, as a listener, you need to hold the speaker to a certain standard and make sure that they are supporting their ideas that they want you to accept with equally credible and relevant sources. Be aware of the consequences of not listening carefully. Well, if we don't listen, we don't learn. Also, if you don't listen, then at the end of the speech, when I ask you to please give feedback to the speaker and then to write and fill out your evaluation form for each of the speakers, you're not going to be prepared to do that. And that will be unfortunate. And that will be a missed opportunity for both you and also the speaker who was looking for your feedback. Fair use guidelines. Fair use means what type of sources am I allowed to use? And in our environment here in the classroom, you can pretty much use any source that you want. Because as you can see here, of the 4 factors for determining fair use, the first one is it is fair to use if you are using it for educational purposes. And everything we're going to be doing in our class is focused on that. Other factors that you want to keep into consideration beyond the classroom are the nature of the work. If something has been copyrighted, if it's actually been published, meaning published on the internet, published in a magazine, published in a book, that belongs to someone else. So you may use it, but you have to give credit where credit is due, to the author who originated the work. Think about the portion of the work that you're using. Again, if you pull up a website and you pull one little factoid or picture or something off of that, generally you can use that information and it should not be a problem. However, if for the sake of sort of cover your butt, anything that I used off of any website, I would always give credit back to that website by making sure that information appears on my references page. And then finally, effect on potential market simply talks about anything that you use. Are you making money off of it? Or is it costing the person who originally authored it? Is it costing them the opportunity to make money? Because if it is, then you should not be using it. That would not be fair use. Finally, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page in terms of plagiarism. Plagiarism is if you go online and you find a speech that you like and then you simply redo the same speech. You can borrow ideas and structure and format and techniques from all kinds of different speeches. But whatever you get up in front of the class to do, it needs to be original and it needs to be your own. Any work or articles that you use, make sure you list them on your references page. If you use someone else's work and you do not give them credit, that is plagiarism. Okay? What do you mean all my facts are wrong? I copied everything straight from the internet. And again, it's not necessarily the facts that are the thing that got him that failing grade, but the truth of the matter is that he did not give credit to who actually delivered or offered or reported those facts in the first place. All right, so that is what you need to know about Chapter 2. Please be sure to review the Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 PowerPoint in preparation for the Chapter 1 to 5 test, which we will also be having on Monday.